Hey everyone, welcome to the Electric Supercar channel. This week we're going to start where we left off. We're going to continue working on the trunk. We're going to see if we can put in a latch and also see if we can make a hinge work. So let's get to it. All right, got some hinges. Not exactly sure how I'm going to do this yet. The last part of the trunk, or the forward part of the trunk, is way back here. So if I have the hinge here, everything's fine. If I put it anywhere forward of that, then this actually has to go down, which I could do. But in general, this isn't like super sturdy. It's kind of okay, but I might need to reinforce it with some steel or something. The other thing I've got is I've got some of these gas springs. So my thought is I'll have the gas springs come here on the side, on both sides, and that'll kind of help get the pressure off when you're lifting it up. It should also get the pressure off the hinge. And also, it should be such when it's down, it'll be in line with the hinge, so it won't really cause it to go up or down, but just when you're raising it up, kind of like the front hood there, as you're raising it up, it'll kind of help. So I'm going to look into what I think for mounting the hinge and also for mounting the gas springs. Okay, so I'm trying to think about how to mount this hinge, and the fiberglass up there is just kind of, I'll call it single sheet. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but most of the panels have this where it's like kind of got a sheet on that side, sheet on this side, and they're kind of sandwiched together. And so I feel like it's got a lot more stiffness and stability. Here, it's just kind of got the single sheet. So what I'm leaning towards is mounting it to the metal. Now when I say that, this doesn't have metal exactly where I think I want it. So there's a little cross brace there, and what I want to do is just get a piece of metal, kind of weld it in between, and then I'll just bolt this to that metal, and I think that'll be plenty strong enough. Trying to figure out these hinge locations has been much more challenging than I thought. So I thought I wanted to kind of create a bracket or brace or something in the middle here, but I remembered that I kind of wanted to keep this open for battery access if I ever need to get back there. So now I'm thinking about doing the hinges here, kind of mounting them back there. Ideally, I'll call it this hinge pin, the pivot point, it's got to be at least back to here. If it's forward from there, that means when this lifts up, that this front part will actually dip down, and so I'd have to like kind of cut that out, which I could do, but as long as the pivot point is back far enough, when it pivots, this will actually pivot up. I will say I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to be able to do all this, because it would be very nice to get this off, to have access kind of from underneath, but at the same time, if I'm planning to kind of fasten to the frame, it kind of needs to be on. This activity might involve some on and off, which is always a little painful. All right, I think I've decided what to do. I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of angle iron and go from those two cross members there, so kind of up a little bit. And to start with, I'm just going to use some riv nuts, some fasteners to get it in place. Eventually I may want to weld it, but I feel like I'm not quite sure if this is the right way. So I'm going to start with that. However, in order to get access, I kind of need to take the shell off or up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and undo the bolts down here and kind of see if I can lift it up just a little bit. All right, so I had a few comments on this placement here and if this would clear the license plate. So in this position, I don't know, this is the handle I've got. Maybe other handles are more curved, but that's kind of the entry. This thing go open. So that's kind of the entry. So again, it would clear. My thought though is I was actually wondering about doing it like this. I thought it might be a little easier. Because here I feel like you're going to have to kind of get down. Here I feel like it might be better. So let me know your thoughts in the comment, but my thought is to maybe mount it, I'll call it upside down. All right, shell's off again. If you guys ever wonder why I can't get more progress done, I swear it takes me like 20 minutes, half hour, just get things on and off. Kind of undoing all the connections, both electrical and fasteners, and then have to get help to get things off. But it's off, so we will look at mounting that new bracket and mounting the hinges. We'll see what else we need to do, if there's anything else we need to do while this is off, but then we'll probably just put it back on. All right, bracket is in. Again, if I like all this and I find that it's not in the way, I think I'll just weld it. But for now, this will do. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it off and mount the hinges. All right, so I got my hinges mounted. I had to make separate brackets. I don't know if you can see, but the car this came from, it was, I don't know, my guess is the trunk kind of had concave sections or whatever. So anyway, made different spacers for each side, but I think that'll work. So now I just got to go put it on the car, and then I might have to take the shell on and off again, just to kind of figure out where these mount onto the trunk. All right, I'm estimating my hood placement and kind of looking at what it looks like under here. So just trying to find out the proper place to mount this. And the other thing is, it looks like these guys are pushed up just a little bit, kind of at the wrong angle. So I'll have to figure out how to deal with that. All right, so I think that's looking a lot better. Instead of mounting these hinges kind of on this face, I mounted them on that face. And so now they're laying pretty flat, even with, I think, where I want it. So now it's gonna be the challenge of trying to, I'm gonna make just a metal piece that goes out straight that I can kind of fasten to this piece. And then I need to drill holes to mount the hinges. And so the challenging part is knowing exactly where this sits. So again, I can put the shell on, but when I put this on, it's blind. I can't like really see from underneath. So I'll have to think on some ways to do that. Oh, can you see that? It's smoking again. What is it with me and electric motors? All right, got this one all cleaned up. So my thought is I'll put it somehow so I can kind of transfer location from the hinges to the trunk. Okay, here is the plan with the hinges. So I've got this plate, I've got some holes. They'll mount to both those hinges, so the hinges will kind of share the load together. I've got just a bit of an offset between kind of that bottom edge and where the underside of the trunk lid is. So I'm gonna have this be a spacer, so it's kind of metal tube here, and then I'll create another, we'll call it plane on the trunk lid, and I'll do some rib nuts and kind of have another plate like this, and then this piece here will kind of be a sandwich. So I'll get some big old bolts in the middle, and we'll see how that works. All right, so I was doing a lot of grinding and did a first. I lit myself on fire. Had to kind of brush it out, but close call.
That was a close call. Is that one of those things you have to do to like consider yourself a builder? Let me know in the comments if you guys have had some close calls. I'd like to hear about it. All right, so I've got the hinge, I'll call it loosely mounted. I haven't like really cranked things tight. So when I open it, it's kind of still got, I'll call it some degrees of freedom. All right, that's got it. All right, so I trimmed off just the very edge here of the kind of rain gutters. And my plan is I've got this extra sheet. It's carved off of, I think it's the rear diffuser. But anyways, extra piece of fiberglass here. My thought is I'll put it in kind of like so. And that will kind of provide a stop for those rain gutters as well as just kind of a lip for when we close the trunk. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll probably think about it some more, figure out how to kind of get it set. But then I think I'll just probably fiberglass it in place. I got myself a trunk latch. This one I think is from a Hyundai. This was less than 20 bucks. And it's got this release cable here. And it's also got kind of, again, if you're trapped in the trunk here, it's got a lock and it's got 3 pins. So I'm gonna see kind of if I can wire those pins to unlatch it, or otherwise I'll just kind of use the release cable there. But I'm also trying to figure out how to mount it on there. So I'm getting the striker as well, and just kind of figure out where I want to mount things. All right, I'm taking some time to get to know and understand this lock here. So you've got the, this is kind of the inside trunk release, and that kind of opens up everything here. I'm just using this right now to kind of simulate a lock. So now it's locked and it won't go open. But this or this kind of they pull the same thing. So I think it will override any lock. The other thing though is I did figure out the pins. So this right here is a lock motor, I guess you call it. And if I connect the pins, just like that, it'll open. Show it again here. So again, that's, I'll call that a trunk release. So as long as it's not locked, I can actually use that signal to release the trunk, but can obviously just do a trunk pop with that one there. So that's good. Now I just need to figure out where to mount it. All right, here I am inside the shell. I cut out this piece here, and I need to get it fiberglassed in place kind of right about there. So that's one element, and then the other one is once that's fiberglassed in place, I'm going to essentially attach this one to it, and then I will put the striker on top. And I think because I don't want any bolts going through, I'll actually just fiberglass the striker in place. All right, it took me a little while to figure out how to get this to be bowed so I could kind of get some fiberglass and not have it, I don't know. So anyways, I got this kind of leaned up against there, so it's put enough pressure that it's kind of got that good shape. I'm thinking I'm gonna cut out some shapes for there just so this will be filled in as well as there. So I'll cut out those shapes, and then my thought is I'll do some short strand fiberglass filler kind of around just the seam there, and then I'll laminate probably again from both sides. All right, so made some little guys here and there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the short strand fiberglass filler, kind of fill in some of the transitions. That'll kind of keep things in place for when I laminate. All right, I got the short strand fiberglass filler there. Did it around these end pieces, kind of both inside and outside. So inside was nice just because you got big, I don't know, just put your finger in and kind of just swoop it all around. Outside, try to make it flush as much as I could, but I'll go after this with some sandpaper after it sets up a little bit, and then we'll kind of fit the trunk. All right, so I cleaned up this side after I put on the short strand fiberglass filler, kind of tried to sand everything. And then on this side, we did the several layers of the fiberglass that kind of, wrapped around. So we'll let this one cure up and we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, so this one's pretty much dry or cured. Next, I'm gonna put the trunk latch on. And my thought is I'll just put it right kind of back here. I'll put the trunk lid on just to make sure I got everything kind of lined up, that we don't have any issues. I am thinking it's just kind of got these two mounting holes, so I'm thinking I've got some scrap steel here that I'll probably, I don't know, my thought is I want maybe at least 4 holes for the fiberglass. And the 4 holes I think will work okay here, just again, it'll be covered when the trunk lid is down, and when it's up I think I'm okay just seeing the screw heads there. So that'll be the plan. Okay, so I've been making this guy. So the thought is this will mount to the trunk on the underside, the lid, and this one will bolt into that new piece I made. And so basically when this one comes down, it'll come and snap in here. And so this guy's about ready. I'm gonna drill some holes or make some slots to try and, because I am gonna fiberglass this piece in. And so I'm just trying to make some extra ways that it will retain. So I think what I'll do is I'll drill some holes for this first, and then I'll either hot glue or I could even do some epoxy, just kind of set this in place temporarily, and then we'll fiberglass. All right, I've got the trunk latch mounted here in the back. Got things countersunk and things are looking pretty good. So I will go ahead and put the lid on. I've got the bracket that I made there for the other side. And I'm gonna go ahead and probably just either hot glue or epoxy in place, and then I'll flip it over and be able to fiberglass. Okay, this is the trunk striker. And again, I've got this plate made, got a bend here so it comes down at the right angle, and this will just be up here. I've kind of cut out these slots so when I fiberglass I can kind of have a little more in and in between, so it should give a little more kind of strength and security to the trunk here. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't hot glue this in place, flip it over, and then I'll have the position to fiberglass.
You know what would make everything easier? If this kit was designed, you know, if it had hinges, if it had places for latches. But I digress. It's kind of fun figuring things out. It just makes things not go quite as quick. All right, I'm going to attempt to put the trunk lid on, and I don't know, track record and such, I'm thinking I give it a 50-50 chance of working. Let me go see. All right, so we're just ever so close. I'm gonna have to see what modifications I can do to kind of make it close. All right, so I'm showing you kind of what the problem is. So I got this lined up just how I wanted to, but I didn't account for the screws. So I'll switch out for some flat heads, and anyways, I'll see what I can do. Okay, attempt number 2. We'll see if this works now. So it's latched and everything. We'll go ahead and take a look underneath. All right, when the trunk is closed, this is kind of what it looks like. And I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but that unlatches it. Can't quite. So that's open. And now when it comes down, it's closed. I've got the manual latch kind of hanging out there, so I'll open that, kind of show you how it opens, show you the hinge, and close it. All right, we were able to get the latch, the trunk latch mounted, as well as the striker. Also got the hinge kind of fabricated and put in place. Still got to tighten things up, but we are running out of time. All right, everybody, that does it for this week. See you next week.